folks. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. John Bachman is here, and Ron Christie is here. Of course, Ron, the author of Acting White and CEO of Christie Strategist, and you read him at the Daily Beast. And Ron, we're gonna get to a phone call, right? I believe, John.
That's right. We got Phil D calling in from the land of Lincoln, Illinois. Go ahead, Ron, or Phil. I'm sorry, and then we'll get to Ron to follow up. Phil, what's your question?
I would like to hear some commentary concerning the Paris March and the presence of the Palestinian leader Abbas there. I only heard one comment that he was there at the invitation of Francois Hollande, and I thought that was quite ironic because I consider Abbas just a terrorist in a suit. And I hadn't heard any discussion about the invitation personally for Abbas to come and join that march.
All right, Phil D calling in from Illinois. Thanks for your call. Steve, we talked about this initially when it first took place. There are some questions and concerns and comments about the entire Obama family now in Saudi Arabia in such a public way, perhaps a makeup for that problem they had with the Paris thing, not sending a high enough profile official. But what was your take on Phil's question about the presence of the Palestinians there?
Absolutely, and I want to hear what Ron has to say too. But Phil, on my show, I hope you watch every day at this time, 3 to 6 Eastern time. And boy, oh boy, from day one, I was all over it. And I love the way you say terrorist in a suit. I say he's Yasser Arafat in a suit. And I've been on this time after time after time. And the genesis of this is the president of France reportedly told Netanyahu to stay home. And when Netanyahu said, I'm coming, the president of France then picked up the phone and invited the terrorist in a suit, Mahmoud Abbas, which was a farce and a sham. Ron?
Well, Steve, I agree with you. I had the opportunity to travel to the West Bank, and you look at the billions of dollars not only received by Yasser Arafat, but now, of course, under Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, billions of assistance, and the West Bank is in shambles. And he's a crook. He is not an honest broker, and I think he is working with others in the region, Syria and Iran, to try to destabilize Israel, and I think he's not to be taken seriously on the world stage.
Yeah, and some concerning info today coming out today. Another rocket attack, rockets fired from Lebanon into Israel today, landing in the Golan Heights. Israel certainly there in a very difficult situation right now, especially as we mentioned with the developments in Saudi Arabia, a lot of uncertainty.
Well, Ron, let me ask you this, because there was also an AP story out this afternoon that in Iran's official news agency says they warned Israel. Now get this, through the United States, and I bet they were only too happy to do it, warned Israel through the United States that Israel crossed a red line in that if Israel did it. Last week, the air raid inside the Golan Heights, which killed not only Hezbollah officials, but also an Iranian general, and that Israel will suffer the consequences. So this is more of a threat that Israel is facing at a time when Obama is still in love with Iran.
Well, Steve, this is what failed leadership looks like. And when the United States president either fails to lead or is not even present, then there's a void. And in the void, you find Iran making comments like what you just articulated, and the sense that there's going to be no retribution or repercussions from the United States. And in fact, this is what the United States, and I should say the United States president, not the United States of America's people, want in regards to Israel. It is so abhorrent that the one stable democracy in the region, Israel, our partner, our friend, for so many decades now, is being treated the way that the United States should treat Iran. And don't think for a second that Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't know the difference between the United States government and its relations with Israel and this United States president, who is so just perilously put the Middle East in peril and in danger due to his ineptitude.
Yeah, and certainly things aren't going to get any better with that visit coming. It should be very interesting to see how the White House handles that with Netanyahu coming for that visit. We do want to get to one more caller real quickly before we step aside for another commercial break. We got Thomas L. calling in from California. Thomas, how are you today? What's your question? We're talking about Iran, Israel, and the United States.
Yeah, I'm doing very fine, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Yeah, I don't know if you guys understand what sequester is, but it's an 80-page judgment on how badly the Obama administration broke the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm the guy that got this 80-page judgment, and everybody's all worried about sequester, and you hear all this stuff. Let me tell you how bad it is being on the Obama kill list. I'm an American, and I'm also Israeli heritage. So if we got a president out here killing us citizens or attacking us, then we got more problem than we understand.
All right, Thomas, thanks for your call. We'll have to leave it there, and we'll get to as many calls as we can today. A wide range of topics. Steve Malzberg going to stick around. We'll say goodbye to Ron Christie, who was gracious enough to be with us and take some of your calls as well. We'll get to a lot more of your calls throughout the show. Stay tuned. John Bachman, Steve Malzberg, a special edition of the Steve Malzberg Show here on Newsmax TV today. Stay tuned.